Hello all. Today we shall read the second part of this Tamra Shasnam which we had started reading in the previous video. For the first part, the link for the first part is given in the description box. Here it starts with, before I start, please let me select an appropriate pointer. So here it says it is a ba over here, ba, then we have a la, then da, then va, Baladava. Baladava doesn't really make any sense. It should be Baladeva. Baladeva, then we have a va, sa, and then a kommo over here. So Vasu. Then once again we have a da and a small diacritic over here. So it is obviously they, then va. Baladeva, Vasudeva. Now we should once again notice the orthographical difference of the da over here and the da over here. But both of them are da. So it says Baladeva, Vasudeva, then we have a kha over here. A modern Telugu kha is typically written. A modern Telugu kha is typically written like this, with the talakattu on top. But this kha, when we see it, is simply written like this. Kha. So khanda, anuswaram, then da, khandali, then mo, then it says ma and a kommu and a dirgham, kommu dirgham. So moola bha, then we have a da over here, moola bhadra, baladeva, vasudeva, khandali, moola bhadra. These seems to be proper nouns. So baladeva, we would understand these things later on, perhaps. Perhaps they are names of people, but it is better to keep them on the parking lot for now. Molabhadra, then we have a va and an anuswaram and a sha. When we see the sha over here, this is a talavya sha, the palatal sibilant, not the mudhanya sha. So there is an o, okaram. So vamsho, then we have another da over here, da and a bhavuttu. So in this older scripts, when we see a vatyaksharam, especially when it is a more of a expansive thing, the vattu ensnars the actual aksharam. So when we see bha over here, this is how dbha has been written. But in modern Telugu, perhaps if we were to write dbha, this is how we would be writing the, and a bhavatu would typically be written like this. Ba. Oh, sorry, there'd be a vattu. Bha. But this is how it typically was written uh, in the earlier form of the script. So it says Baladeva, Vasudeva, Khandali, Molabhadra, Vamshodbha. Then Vamshodbha, the next word would be obviously Vamshodbhava. So what it says is Baladevas, Vasudevas, I'm sorry, not Vasudeva, Vasudeva. Baladeva is Balabhadra, or the elder brother of Krishna, who is also known as Balarama. Vasudeva is Lord Krishna himself. Khandali, I'm not sure who Khandali is. Molabhadra, also I'm not sure who really is. Molabhadra, to my knowledge, is a Sanskrit word for Sarsaparilla, Indian Sarsaparilla, what is known as Sugandhivela in Telugu and Nannari in Tamil. But this must be some person's name, Molabhadra over here. Molabhadra, Vamshodbhava. So the descendant of the lineage of Baladeva, Vasudeva, Khandali, and Molabhadra, then Vamshodbhava Bhavarum. So the this shasanam is dedicated to the descendant or the acclaimed descendant. It was in ancient times. It was typical that most of the castes and communities were uh, claimed mythological lineages. So, for example, most of the Kshatriyas were either Surya Vamsham or of Chandra Vamsham. So, or sometimes an Agnikula Kshatriya would also be there, such as the Shunga dynasty. But largely, they are all attributed their lineage to the Surya or Chandra. Most of the Brahmanas would be attributing to the different Vedic rishis in the name of Gotra, Sutra, Pravara, and all those things. Most of the Brahmins would be attributing to the Vedic rishis, and ultimately it would lead to Brahma somewhere. Similarly, the other castes, for example, some of the castes would be attributing their origin to Agastya. Some of the other castes would be attributing their origin to different other deities. For example, most of the milkmen caste, milk people, typically attribute themselves to the Yadava community or the Golla community or the Yadava people. They attribute their origins to Lord Krishna and his descendants. So accordingly, this person, apart from Lord Baladeva, Balabhadra, he also attributes to Lord Krishna. Perhaps he's from the Yadava community, but he also attributes to Khandali and Molabhadra. I'm not really sure who these people are, who these mythological people are. So with this, we also understand that this Shasanam, whatever has been written, the person does not really belong to the Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, or even to the matter a Kayastha. Kayasthas largely attribute their origins to Chitragupta, Yama's assistant, Lord Yama's assistant Chitragupta. So this must be someone from the other community of the one of the different Shudra Varnas. This particular Shasana has been presented to a person belonging to one of the Shudra Varnas. Now, then it says Shri Madhye. We have a Ma over here. We should identify this early Telugu forms are more resemble Kannada script more than the Telugu script occasionally. So this Ma is very similar to Kannada, modern Kannada. Ma, the. Once again, there is a small uh, space over here, but it should not be read as da. And it is instead it should be read as da. When we see that, when we try to read an early inscriptions, like a Pallava da is something written like this. So this Pallava da and the early Telugu da are very similar of the what the Pallavas used to write. The Pallava dynasty of Kanchipuram. Pallavas itself is a Telugu dynasty for the records. So then we have a small diacritic which is turning to the left. So it means it is an ekaram. Then we have a yavuttu madhye. So Sri Madhye Madhyeya Madhye. Then a ya is there and a ya and a yavuttu ayya. Then we have a wo. We once again have the symbol which we encountered in the previous inscription, which I'm not really aware of what this really means. So Srimadhyayavo, then something is there. Then Ya, once again a Ya. We have an a vowel A should be observed over here. This is how it has been written. Modern Telugu A is also very similar to that, with the exception that the horizontal line and this vertical ending is joined into one single stroke, whereas it seems to be a two-stroke letter over here in the early forms. So, aha, a he, then we have a he, then sha, then we have a cha vuttu over here. Once again, we should see that the cha is more ensnaring the sha as compared to the modern vuttaksharas, as compared to the modern conjunct aksharas, the way we write in Telugu. Cha, then we have a ta over here, ahishchatra. Ahishchatra is another form of the word ahitchatra. Ahitchatra is an older form of the older name for the modern day Chattarpur, which is there in Uttar Pradesh. This is a very unique inscription from the fact that it is a Telugu inscription written in the Telugu script, but refers to Ahitchatra, which is somewhere in Uttar Pradesh, which is in North India. Ahitchatra, then we have a Va over here, which curves in, so it is a V. Then we have a Na, Ga, Vinegar, and we have a small Rephalam over here. If we see, if even in the previous, even in the previous part of this particular inscription, we encountered this thing which we interpreted as a Raphalam. So we use the same interpretation. It says as Vinargata. We rather than na, it makes more sense if we read it as Vinargata. Vinargata, then Vinargatarum. It says ru over here. Vinargataruncha. Vinargatarun. Then we have a once again a cha and a dirghakaram over here, cha. And this symbol seems to be very recurrent in this particular instruction. Once again, this has an symbol is there, and this time it has a kommo, so it is an ukaram. Then cha, then something we have, and then it says a ka with a ya, kya, cha, then something, then kya, and a yavut over here, ya phalam. Then sa, then we have a va phalam, then a ya, swayaruncho, swayarun, then we have a cho. We have the number, we have a symbol over here, cho. Okay, but this doesn't really seem to be, this is the number one. So it seems that this number over here, which is near to this hole, the punch hole, is indicates that this particular plate, copper plate, is the first plate of the inscription. The inscription. Then cho. Then we have once again this enigmatic symbol comes over here. Then we have a ka. We should identify. We should observe this ka over here. This seems to be more like a Telugu ka than a Kannada ka. Ku. It says ku. Whereas in the previous, yeah, over here in the same inscription, in the previous line, we see that the ka is more similar to Kannada. I'm sorry. Yeah, the ka is more similar to Kannada than the Telugu, but in this particular line, it has started taking the form of the ka, the modern Telugu ka, the way we observe in the printed text. For the benefit of everyone, we have another handwritten ka, which was quite popular till recently, till I should say till the 1990s. But since the 2000s, I'm not really seeing this second form of ka. Ku, then la, kulang. So it obviously means that the previous one, the previous word, this cho, after this cho, then this word refers to a kulam, a royal clan. Kulan taka. It says kulan anuswaram, then atta, and once again we encountered the ka, which is very similar to the Kannada ka, rum, ka rum, ka rum. So over here, with this we see that cho kulantakum, there are, it obviously means the kulam, whichever it is being referred to as, it has only two letters and one of them is cho. And the most obvious thing which comes, the first thing which comes to my mind from the fact that this is a southern inscription, is that at the Chola kulam, the Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas, the word chora, what we write as chola in English, is actually a chora in Tamil, a unique alphabet which is found quite uniquely in Tamil, Manipravalam, and Malayalam. Apart from that, Ra doesn't really exist in any of the languages under the sky. So that Ra, when even in early forms of Telugu and Kannada, also we observe that. But perhaps in Telugu it was lost long ago, and Kannada it is there. It's still in Hale Kannada, but in modern Hosa Kannada it is no longer there. That is, in modern Kannada it doesn't exist along with Bandira. Now, the ra is often transcribed either as a ra or a la in most of the other languages when we have a borrowing from other language. For example, the Tamil word iru, which means pull, is idu in Tamil or eleyu in Kannada. So it had the ra is either translated as a da or a la. Now, since we do not have an option for da over here, I assume that this is a la. Then it does make sense. It says Chola Kulantakarum. So someone who ended the Chola dynasty, or maybe someone who ended one particular lineage of Chola dynasty. Chola Kulantakarum. Now, to verify whether it is actually stands with la, is it is an actual la or not, we will try to interpret the previous instances of it. And we would start with this particular inscription itself. Over here we have after this room over here we have cha, then the symbol. So we assigned it the value of la, which is written as such in modern Telugu, or it as such in Devanagari, and as such in Tamil. So I it would be Chalukya once again, the Chalukya Empire. So over here also it does make sense. Now we would go one step about that, and we see that it occurs over here, and we had the spelling over here Srimadhya Yavolaya. So Srimad Ayyavolu is a place name. Ayyavolu is a place name. Often the Sanskrit word for it is Arya. Aryapuram is what we understand it from the Sanskrit word, and the modern word for it is Aihole. 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 It is there in Karnataka. So once again, it confirms that it must be in all probability an Ayyavo. It must all probability this should be a la over here. So it now with this assumption we deduce two geographic names, geographic names which are really far apart, even from modern sense when we consider traveling. One is Aihole in Karnataka, which is called Ayyavole over here, and another is Ahitchatra, that is Chattarpur of Uttar Pradesh, which has been called which has been called Ahishchatra in this particular inscription. Now, Chattarpur is, to my knowledge, is somewhere near Delhi in western UP, somewhere near Delhi. And traveling from Delhi to Hyderabad itself is a big, strenuous task when you have to cross especially after between the stretch between Itarsi and Nagpur is a challenging task, even with all the modern amenities and all the trains and everything. Of course, if you are flying, that's a different story. Coming back to our inscription, over here it says that Srimad Ayyavolaya Ahischatra Vinargatarum. So someone who has gone out of Ahischatra and Ayyavola, two places are being mentioned. So the origins of this particular clan has been attributed to Ahichatra, Chhatrapur, and Aihola or Ayyavola. Chalukya Chalukya Swayarum. So they are considered to be the Chalukya Swayarum. So Chalukya's Swayam, that is self. So they are somehow related to the Chalukya dynasty. And then Chola Kulantakarum, it says someone who decimated the Cholas. It refers to the rivalry between the Cholas and the Chalukyas in the during ancient times of India. Then it says Che. Then it says we have a cha over here, che. Then we have a la, chala, bha. We have a bha over here, bhara. Once again, we should observe this particular na over here. It is na and not a no. Chala bharana, chala bharana bhu. Once again, we have a bhu over here. Uh, Bhu Shi. Then we have a Sha, Talavya Sha, Bhushi. Chala Bhushita. Chala is a garment. Garments are called Chala, is a Telugu word for garment. Chal, Chalabharana Bhushita. So someone who is ornamented and dressed properly, garmented over here. So someone who someone who wears proper clothes and lots of ornaments is what is being referred to over here. And when we see a bhakaram over here, we should observe the gap. In the modern bha is written something like this with a vuttu over here. And that is something which differentiates the ba and a bha in modern Telugu. In the earlier form of Telugu, a ba was written as such, very similar to the modern Telugu, while the bha we see as a union of two graphemes as such. There is an occasional talakattu present over here, but it is not uniformly present everywhere when we analyze this video and the previous video and the whatever we read in the previous video. So it says bhushitarum, chalabharana bhushitarum. Then it says balung. Over here we have a ba. Now, this ba and cha, we need to identify when we are identifying this particular feature, this particular inward curve of the ba is what differentiates it from cha. Typically, when we see we have, whatever we are seeing in this particular inscriptions, a ba when we have a ba is typically being curved like this, and a cha is typically being curved like this. So this forms the differentiating factor of between a ba and a cha, the small curve over here. So Balung, sorry, this is a la over here. Lu, Balung, then Kai, Kai over here, Balung Kai. So the word Balum, um Balu means strong. The words Balu means strong. Kai is hand. So a strong armed person. It says a strong armed person. Balung Kai. Then Dan, Da. We have a Da over here and then a Da. This Da is very similar to the modern Telugu or Kannada Da when we see the curve typically being present over here as such. So the da has been written as such and the da has been written as such, which is a very subtle difference when we consider this particular inscription. So danda, then we have a ha over here, danda ha, then a ha dirgham is there, then hastarum, danda hastarum. So it is it is written as a hastarum, but as we had previously discussed, it seems that this particular inscription has been written by a non-Sanskritist or someone who was not very familiar with the spellings of Sanskrit, but well educated from a uh, was or knew how to read and write essentially, and knew the Telugu language much better than Sanskrit language, which once again indicates that this was not written by a brahmana. And the very fact that he mentions Baladeva Vasudeva Khandali in the first sentence of this particular inscription, it says Baladeva Vasudeva Khandali Molabhadra Vamshodbhava. It very clearly indicates that the shasanam itself is not being written within the brahmanical or within a community which falls within the Brahmanical purview, or with by a community which really it is more of the Shudra community. So it is quite obvious that the Sanskrit would be a bit rusty and might not be as perfect as what a Brahmanical inscription might look like. So says Tarum. Then we had Dandahastarum. So someone who is of a strong arm, Balunkai, and Dandahastarum. Danda is a mace. So someone who holds a mace in his hands. Hastam is a hand. Someone who holds a Dandahastam is someone who holds a mace in his hand. Dandahastarum. Then it says ta over here. We have a takaram. Ta. We should observe the ta over here, and the early form of ta is much more fascinating than the modern ta. So this is an early form of ta, and the modern ta is something like this. The evolution of this particular small vertical stroke in the modern ta is only evolution, it seems, between early form of ta and the modern ta. So tamala. Then it says tamala, tamalaka, tamalaka. Tamalaka, there is some Vuttakshara present over here, some conjunct present over here, which I'm not very sure what it means. We would try to decipher it over the course of time. Tamalaka, Tamalaka, but this is not a ka. The reason why I'm saying that this is not a ka is because a ka typically, did I write it somewhere? No. So a ka typically in this inscription seems to be like this. So, but whereas this particular stroke is missing, so it is not a ka, it should be either a ki or a k. It seems to be more like a ki than a k. So it seems to be a small circle. So tamalake. So in all probability, this should be a kavuttu tamalake. In Kannada, still we use it to indicate that something is related to some an object X. So when we say something is related to an object X, then we say that Xk. So in Telugu it will be Xku or Xki. So this seems to be the more like an older Xki. So Tamalaki. So over here something related to Tamala. Tamala is a Tamala patram is a leaf, is a kind of a plant, Tamala. The most common thing which is attributed to is it is a bay leaf or the what we call as a teज पत्ता or a biryani aku or a biryani leaf or a masala leaf, whatever it is called. So it is what usually identified as the Tamala leaf. So Tamalake, then it is a once again we should identify two ligatures over here which singly identify the single ligature bha. It is bha over here. Abhaya, Abhaya Hastarum. Abhaya, once again, we have a ha over here. This ha is very similar to modern Telugu ha. Ha, then sa, and a ta uttu. This uttu, once again, for the first time, I am observing in this particular inscription that the ta uttu or the conjunct ta is very similar to the modern Telugu conjunct. Otherwise, we had previously seen in all our, in it was something written like this in the previous leaf of this particular same inscription. So it says Abhaya Hasta. Abhaya Hasta, Abhayam is fear not. Abhaya Hastam is typically fear not. What all the gods or Hindu gods are depicted as using. So Abhaya Hastam is someone who is trying to allay someone's fear with his hands with the Abhaya Hasta Mudra. Abhaya Hastarum. Then it says we have a ka over here. Then ka va ka. This va once again is, I should say, in this particular inscription itself, this is the first va which I have encountered which resembles the modern Telugu va rather than the Kannada va. For in the first line over here, this va and the this va what is written in Baladeva, Vasudeva, and this va are fairly different. The first va, uh, the va in the first line is more resembles more of the Kannada va, and in the last line it resembles more of the Telugu va. This once again makes us wonder if Kannada and Telugu, the scripts at least, are cursive variants of the same script. There is no harm in assuming that the Kannada script and the Telugu scripts are essentially cursive variants, and we modern Indians have lost our imagination and have lost our intellect, due to which we are not really able to identify the cursive variants of the same grapheme in all probability. So it says Astarum, then Kavaka Kancha, Kavaka Kancha, this is a Kancha. Then we have a symbol something like this. It looks like either Kanchadu, either it is a du or a du, Kanchadukka, Kanchadukkeyanka, Kanchaduk. Once again, we have an A over here. Kanchadukke. We assume that this will be a kavuttu. So a conjunct ka. So this once again it makes sense. Assume Kanchadukkeyam. So this assumption that it is a conjunct ka is makes very much sense in this particular inscription. So Kanchadukkeyam ka. Once again we have a ka with a dirgham over here. Ka. Then we have a ma kama. Then we have a small ikara devaru. Kamadevaru Kancha. Okay. To Kavaka Kanchadukeyam Kamadevaru. So to Kavaka and Kanchadu. So the person is a Kamadeva or the community seems to be a equivalent to a cupid or very attractive to Kavaka and Kanchuka. What these means, I do not really know the word what the Kavaka and Kanchuka mean. If anyone knows what really Kavaka and Kanchuka mean, it could be in any language. It could be in Telugu or Kannada or in Tamil or let us say it could be in Sanskrit or in the or even in Prakrit, considering the kind of words which have been used in this particular inscription. So the word might still exist in one of any of these languages, and if someone is privy to the meaning of these words, please do put your comments in the comment section, and for the benefit of everyone, and so that all of us know what really this inscription means. But with this, what we understand is the Shasana is dedicated to a person or to a community who consider themselves to be the descendants of Baladeva, Vasudeva, Khandali, and Molabhadra, who considered themselves to have originated from the Aihole and Chattarpur, who are friends of the Chalukyas of the Chalukya Vamsha, and who also were involved in a fight and who decimated the the Chola kings at some instance, and who hold the mace Dandahasta, and who are quite strong, Balunkai and Balunkai, and then who remove allay the fears of everyone around them, Abhaya Hastakum, then who are also whom the Kavaka and Kanchudus find very attractive. Though Kavaka Kanchuda Keyang Kamadevaru. So with this we end the reading of this particular uh, with this we end the reading of this particular sheet of our Tamra Shasanam. I'd also take a bit of time to explore the previous Shasanam, what we had left, and we did not interpret a similar symbol over here, the Lakaram in the previous Shasanam. So this is a copy of the previous Shasanam. Yeah, over here we had not been able to identify this particular thing over here. So it says Balajiga. So, or Balija, basically Balijaga. So, Balija is a community once again, and is a Telugu community, and it seems that this Shasana is attributed to the Balija community. So, and it does make sense. Are typically classified as one of the Shudra communities among in among the Telugus, and they do attribute themselves to more of the uh, even in modern times, the Krishna, Balabhadra, and perhaps even Mulabhadra, whoever he is, Mulabhadra, I do not know. People who are aware of this particular deity, Mulabhadra and Khandali, I'd request people who are aware of these particular deities, Khandali and Molabhadra, to please comment on the section and let everyone know who these deities are, if anyone is aware of these deities, Khandali and Molabhadra. And from the previous inscription and the from the previous video and current video, it seems that it is attributed to the Balija community, who are very warrior-like and who have quite a lot of who are interrelated with the ruling Chalukya community at that time. Thank you all for watching this video, and I'm really sorry if since it has gone a bit more than half an hour, but the beauty of this particular inscription, I could not really stop myself from explaining each and every detail of this particular beautiful inscription. This particular beautiful inscription. Now, if you like this particular video and the reading of this particular inscription, please do click upon the like button and share it with your family and friends, and do subscribe to my channel over here. And please do comment your views upon this particular inscription, and if you feel that something has wrongly been read out over here, please do put forth your views in the comment. Let's make it as an interactive channel where we take everyone's opinions and we all of us try to read the numerous inscriptions which dot the length and breadth of India. Thank you all and have a good day.